Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Horse Center. Just me again. Our friend Terry should make his return. I think on Wednesday, Terry should be back. So looking forward to having Terry back in the saddle again. Come hump day. Hope things go well for you and Honey Bunny today, Terry. Safe trip back home tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing you back here on Wednesday. So that's the day that Terry should be back, and definitely looking forward to that. Today we're going to do Parx as we always do every Monday morning. We're looking forward to hopefully a really good day at the Philadelphia track. The weather there could get sketchy as the day goes on. Right now it's sunny, I believe, but there are some forecasts for some powerful thunderstorms. And an unknown caller decided he wants to join the show. Usually I turn these things off, so I'm not the best with the phone, so forgive me, folks. So let me get rid of that guy. All right. So I always love the scam likely phone call, but that's my favorite. But anyway, they are expecting some interesting weather later on today at Parx, which could take some of the track from fast to sloppy or muddy. They've already taken the turf races off the turf and moved them to dirt. So we might as well get cracking today because we do have a lot to cover. Some of the stuff that I have early on in the card too, like the best bet, the pick fours and stuff, are early in the card. Let's go ahead and pull up race number one. Race one is a 6 furlong race. It's a claiming $12,500, 9 winners of 3 with a purse of $22,000. And at 6 furlongs so far, they've run 189 races, 129 of which were won by speed. 66 went wire to wire. The rail underperforms. Of course, I got the rail there as my top pick, but the rest of the post positions play relatively fair. And as we've been doing with Terry's absence, and we'll continue to do when Terry comes back, because we've gotten some positive feedback on this, we're going to take a look at let's take a look at how the pace sets up for this race in race number one. Looking at the E. E stands for horses. So when you look at this chart, just as a quick refresher, the E stands for early pace. So that means the four horse in this case, it's got its wins when it's been on the lead. EP are horses that can run on the lead or pressure. P horses are pressure horses. They haven't won from the lead, but they can be close to the lead. Pressure closers, horses that basically can be anywhere on the track is really what it boils down to. And then you have the 2, the 3, and the 6 being closers. These are horses that close. So again, it looks like the 4 has the potential to be lone speed in here, but you can see here I have what I call a left arrow horse. And a left arrow horse is one that its positioning allows it to be pretty much anywhere on the course, but its early pace numbers push them towards the front of the pack. And you can see here too, I have a plus plus. Not only does it tend to get to the front of the pack, but it's one that has an advantage. The LP numbers here, the LP writing here for the 6 horse indicates that this horse has the best late pace in the field. There was a horse in here that I put under NA, but I was able to qualify it later on. So if we take a look now at the picks for race number one, you'll see that I have the 1 horse, as I mentioned, as my top pick, as much as I hate the rail for the 6 furlong distance at Parx. Does have a double plus advantage on the early pace. Is also a left arrow horse, so a lot going for Golden Spoke. Number 4 is my second choice, Long Tail. This one was horrible in the last 2 outings coming off the bench, but a couple of bullet workouts say that's about to change. Gets a weight break and could be the leader in here if the one falters. I do like the weight break and early pace combination. It tends to work out pretty well as well. Number 5, Indirectly, is not much difference between it and the 6 horse, but I'll take the one that improved in the first half mile in its last race with a little bit better fractions and a little bit better record at the distance. And then number 6, Spectacular Kid, does have the top late pace numbers in the field, as I showed you in the chart right there. Regressed a little bit in its last race, and at Parx has struggled to win. 20 times out, 1 win, 6 seconds, a third. It may in the money, probably winner, probably not. And that wraps up race number 1. Good morning, Charles. How are you today? Hope you had a great weekend. I know Charles was on fire Thursday, ran the card at Saratoga. So hopefully you paid attention to what Charles had to say on Friday. Thanks for that, Charles. Hey, Nick, how you doing today, my friend? How do I email me? You email me at gtsrichb@gmail.com. or you can DM me on Twitter at HRTRich. So I think that's what it is. So that's the easiest way to reach me, Charles. So yeah, make sure you do that. I would appreciate you getting me to cover that book so I can get that out to everybody in class here as well. And Charles, you got anything that you like? Nick, you got anything you like? Anybody else have anything that they like at Parx or any other track? Some big races today at Colonial Downs as well. So obviously we're interested in finding winners anywhere. One horse I expect to win here today in race number 2 is the 7 horse. Race 2 is 1 mile, 70 yards. It's on the main track. The mile and 70-yard profile of a winner. So far, 190 races, 137 which were won by speed. 48 went wire to wire. There is an inside 3 bias. 4 through 7 get a slight penalty. 8+ is fair. Once again, let's take a look at what the race shape could look like based upon how horses have won in the past. And we see here that in race number 2, the horses that get boxed right here, these are horses that should get a, come on, cooperate with me now. These should get a pace figure that favors the way they've won in the past. Again, here we have another Green Arrow left horse. I love these left arrow horses. They win at a, I haven't really measured it out, but I look back at the end of the day at how they've played out. And so many of these win, and they're not always favorites either. There's a couple over the weekend that won at like 4-1, 5-1. So I was pretty pleased about that. Here you see again, we got the plus right here. Plus at the 4 furlong marker to 7 should have a pretty substantial lead. Could have, if it doesn't run crazy pace numbers. Got a couple scratches in here with the 1 horse being out. You have the 2 horse being out, and that one had a advantage at the end of the race. So its scratching could change the way that the back end of the race looks. As far as the picks for me are concerned in race number 2, my best bet, as I said, is number 7 of the day. That is Peruvian Boy. His 4 and 6 pace figures puts him well ahead, maybe 3 to 4 lengths in front of everybody else. I think he could make really easy work of this field. Number 4, French Toast, ran a peak number last out. He's followed the last peak 3 numbers with some regression. Twice, just a small drop, and one time just completely fell off the cliff. So if you're back into 4, you're hoping for the small regression, not the big regression. Number 5, Ronin Warriors, dropping a class after putting in a better effort in the first half mile of its last race. Maybe sitting on a pretty good race in here today. And then number 6, Master of War, won his last at Delaware with better internals for the first half mile of the race. That's my best bet of the day. That's race number 2. See what's going on here. Let's see. Colonial canceled today. Okay, I didn't know Extreme Heat. I did not know that. 4 horse race 1 double. 4-1 for a $20 double. And that's in race number 1. Yeah, I like the 4 horse in there. 2 Colonial cancel. Yeah, we talk about the Nick says Charles 1-2 scratched in race number 2. Oh yeah, 4 all. There you go. 4 all daily doubles. So Charles really back in that 4 horse right there. 7 is a fire sale. Gets claimed, won't run. You don't think so? On the 7 horse in race number 2? All right. Well, we'll see what happens there. Race number 3 is, let's look at race 3. Race 3 on the card is 1 mile, optional claiming $40,000. Non-winners of 2 lifetime for a purse of $42,000. 1 mile winners on the main track at Parx, 78 times out, 55 of them won by speed, 22 of the 78 taking them from gate to wire. There is a slight rail penalty here. 2 through 7 play mostly fair. You get a major downgrade at 8 and out. Again, our pace charts tell us, let's see what they tell us about race number 3. Race number 3, we don't get any scratches. We do have some horses in here that should get with the box paces that they're comfortable with. The 4 horse should be close to the lead. You got the 3 and the 5, both pressure horses that have the sort of early pace that can put them in contention with the 4 horse for the win. And then, of course, the 5 horse here has the top late pace figures in the group. So the 4 also has some pretty solid late pace numbers. So the 4 and 5 probably can get to the lead, maybe take them from beginning to end as horses that are near the front of the pack. I'm going to go ahead with the, let me pull this back up again, the In race 3, the 5 horse as my top choice, Boss Man Jones. I think it will be the pace setter in here. Also has the top late pace figures too. Ran better fractions last time out at 1 mile and a 16th compared to 1 mile and 70 yards in the previous start. It's a bullet workout on July the 20th, suggesting to me that Boss Man Jones is still sharp. You got the trainer jockey combination of Service and Pennington winning at a healthy 32% together. It's certainly a number we'll take. A lot definitely heading in Boss Man Jones' favor. It was just messing that up with the next word, the honorable one. Put them together. The honorable one, top last race speed figure, and his mid-race numbers last time suggest he'll be near the front with a quarter of a mile left to go. Eloquist, the 2 horse, is the 3rd choice here in race number 3. Last time out, ran in the Holy Bull, so that was a long time ago, back in February. Has a win and 2 goes at Parx, tied for the best Parx number with the 5. Some good works in here getting ready. Certainly faced the best class of this group. Number 3, Oiler Track Dropper from Churchill Downs, Oaklawn Park, and Keeneland. Lone workout so far at Parx was pretty good, but I'm not the biggest fan of maiden claimer risers, especially after 8 tries to get the maiden win. So that's definitely usually not a yes in my book, more of a no. Linda just wants here money back. Her money back could be. Agree with race 5. Agree on 5 with race 3 with Rich. Thanks, Charles. I appreciate that. Yes, I can see that. Maybe we can catch a price fading. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look now at race number 4, which is also going to be the end of the early pick 4, which I'm going to get to in a minute. Race 4 is my long shot of the day at Parx. Race 4 is a 1 mile and 70 yards, supposed to be on the turf. As I mentioned, they're off the turf now. It is absolutely on the dirt. And again, 1 mile at 70 yards on the main track. They've done it 190 times. 137 of them were won by horses that were in the first 3 at the first call. 48, Jimmy Johnson went wire to wire. You have an inside 3 bias, 4 through 7 against slight penalty, 8 and out, plays fair. Our pace setup for what this race could look like, at least the sort of race that horses want to win in race number 4. It looks a bit like this. Let me pull this down on the screen. Race 4, you see we're here impacted by scratches that really have an impact on this race. You got the 9 horse scratched, which could have been Lone Speed. The 4 horse is scratched. The 8 horse is scratched. So that early changes the way the early race makeup could look like. Got the 6 horse now that becomes a dominant, or at least a prominent player on the early. You got the 2 horse now becoming a left arrow horse with some strong late pace numbers. And then here you have the 7 horse with a late plus. And what I have, when I put the 2 pluses in there, that is an indication to me that its late pace numbers, at least the way I calculate them out, is 10 points higher or more than the next closest horse. 1 plus mark is 5. And again, over the weekend, as I was keeping track of these things, these plus horses, they may not win, but these left arrow horses and these pace advantage horses, they had a really good history of getting into the money over the weekend when I was watching all the races and keeping track of how all the stuff works out. So keep an eye on those horses. Maybe you don't put them at the top of your ticket, but maybe as exactas or trifectas and wheel around them like Charles was doing with the double there. Maybe you all over top of them and see if maybe you can hit a really strong price at the top of an exact or something like that. Race 4, the top pick 6 looks like Lone Speed, and big lead price of the day, 100% win, place, and show for race number 4 with Charles. I'm going to go in race number 4 with the 7 horse. La La Lucy is my long shot. If she can run the same race as she ran in her last number, it would make her an easy winner. Incredible late pace pop in that start, walking up the speed number ladder with 4 consecutive speed figure increases in a row. Touring Marianne is a left arrow horse closer whose pace numbers put her in contention to be the pilot, maybe the co-pilot, going long for the first time, which should actually accentuate that early pace. Number 3, Miss Quilo, she's going to try and rally from way back. With the scratches in here, making it a shorter field, I don't mind that. Probably falls short of the win, but bulks up exotics, I think. And then number 5, a bit bad in Bougie 3 seconds in a row, all pretty close at 1 mile and 70 yards at Parx on the main track. We'll see if it gets wet by then. That race, number 4, wraps up the early pick 4 at Parx today, and that's the one I think I'm going to do my hot dog pick 4 in. That's $20 budget. I'm going to go with the 1 and the 4. Charles, I got your 4. I'm going to go with the 7, but if the 7 scratches, Charles, I don't know what I'm going to do about that. 5, 4, 2, and 3, and then in closing it out with 5 horses in the last leg. So make sure you take a look at your pick 4s. That's how I'm going to do it for $20. Let's see how it works out. I know Charles says he likes the 6 in race number 4. I just think he could struggle to get the lead, and if he does, those horses tend to fade away. Another place you can look today, we talked about hot dogs, we looked about best bets so far. If you head on over to our friend today, the Professor, you'll find a link down there in YouTube and Facebook for the picks with the Professor. He is actually a statistics professor. And at the statistics professor, he's put together some models for baseball. He's been, as they say in Spanish, en fuego. So make sure you go ahead down there and you follow him at Picks by the Professor. There's also a link to his YouTube show so you can get all of his picks. But today, he's going to look to play the Mariners at minus 139. So make sure you check out the Mariners. They're going to be thrilled to be facing an Astros team that's an absolute buzzsaw right now, especially against good teams. But he thinks that the Mariners have a shot to win here today. So, again, Picks by the Professor. You can bookmark it from the links down there. And while you're here on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, well, you can only be watching on Facebook and YouTube. While you're here, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Tell your friends about us if you like what you see. We absolutely appreciate your support and help us. This group really bad. Yeah, I agree with you. Race 4 is one of those races where you just good, you wish you could skip it. But that's why I put so many horses in that pick 4, because I feel like it is going to be wide open race. You might want to toss the 6 in there for a couple more bucks just to have all on that all leg. Unfortunately, I limit myself with a budget for the purposes of what we do here. Maybe not necessarily with when I go ahead and make my own bets. For race number 5 today, race 5 at the Parx course is 6 furlongs again. 6 furlongs, of course, speed. Got to kind of stay away from the rail because it has not performed that well. Everything else performs fairly well. Race number 5, it is claiming $25,000, purse of 26 grand. If we take a look at what our pace chart looks like in here, we're going to see with the picks for the Professor, race 5, you have, and it's kind of cramped down here on the bottom, so forgive me. We have another left arrow horse with the 4 horse. 4 horse being one that can sit right off the pace. And you can see a lot of the horses here are going to try to compete for the front, which could set it up for a horse that likes to sit off the pace and then come home a little bit later on. The late pace belongs to the 2 horse who, he's not squared off because his early pace numbers and his fractions suggest he might not get to the lead. So he could sit back here maybe with the 4, but those late pace numbers then will give him a chance to move himself maybe from an early pace horse to an EP next time out. We'll see about that. In terms of what my picks look like for race number 5, I have the 3 horse on top as my top choice. That horse is Captain Chaz. Between the 3 and the 6, one of those 2 is likely to come away the leader here and have the best shot at going wire to wire. 3 has better Parx numbers, but the last race at Penn, not so good. Step down in class, gets back on track here today. And number 6, Prince Flip, finished behind the 3 twice so far. Has a lot of early juice, has a little bit of rest, though, in between races and a bullet work. So maybe finally gets the better part of Captain Chaz. Number 2, a Talented Man, is dropping to the lowest level of his career. Times shows some really good early pop and has some of the best late pace numbers when he fires. So if Talented Man gets out to a good start, he'll have a good finish to him. If he gets off to a bad start, bad finish. So how he starts is how he finishes, I guess, is the moral of the story. Finally, number 4, Uncle Gary G. My uncle's name is Gary, so why not? Did run some similar fractions last out. At 7 furlongs compared to 5.5 furlongs in the previous race. Watch for cancel the rest of the card after race 4, Extreme Heat at Parx, you think, today? I don't know, because it's supposed to rain there today, Charles. So that could maybe get a little bit of a cool-off effect. So we'll see. The thunderstorms might help. I know that they do help in Florida, obviously. Philadelphia is not Florida. I'm sure in December, the Philadelphians wish Philadelphia were Florida. I would say that. All right, so race number 6 on the card is 1 mile and 70 yards, claiming a 25,000 for a purse of 30 grand. As we mentioned already, a mile and 70 yards, much like the Parx track, you kind of want to be fast. Unlike some of the sprints, you do get a little bit of an advantage to the inside 3. 4 through 7, you get a little bit of a penalty. 8 plus play 10 to play fair. Our pace set up for race number 6 looks like this. Let me bring that back up on the screen. Race 6, I have to page up now. How about that? Race 6, again, here we see a 7-horse that could be the lone pace, but that's how he's won in the past. However, that's not how he might go today. The 3 and the 5, which are usually pressure horses, both of them have early pace figures that suggest that they'll be in front of the 7 when the gates open. The 1 and the 2, they have the most late punch. So it'll be interesting to see how this race plays out at a mile and 70 yards. If speed matters, then maybe the 3 or 5 brings home the ticket. If they go too fast, you'll definitely see the inside 2 horses make a really strong push to get by them at the end. Picks for race number 6 look like this. Just so many buttons to press without Terry here. It's just so much easier when I can do it when he's in the back, when he's talking and I'm in the background. But number 2, Bumperoo, has some crazy late pace advantage over the rest of the field. Actually, this is my box it up too. So this is where I take 4 horses, put them together in a $1 exacta box, 50-cent Trifox, 10-cent Superfecta box. Charles says if it rains, the late part of the card, very good if they stay on turf. Yeah, but they already took the races off the turf, Charles. So there's not going to be any turf races today at Parx. Race number 6, as I mentioned, my box it up. Number 2, Bumperdoo, as I was saying, has some really crazy late pace advantage in the last couple of races versus this group. Should not be too far off the lead because there really isn't, in terms of early speed, a super fast group of front runners in here. They're actually slow by most measures. Hard Sting, the 6-horse, loves some Parx. Been out 10 times. Collected 2 wins, 4 seconds, and 4 thirds. If you add them up, quick math says that's 100% in the money at Parx. Also a big fan of the distances, that Hard Sting. Ran it 12 times, 2 wins, so not a big fan of winning. But 4 seconds, 5 thirds, so 11 out of 12 times finishing in the money at a mile and 70 yards. Drops in class. Some good workouts between races. I always like to see the horse staying tight. Number 1, Malibu Star. If the 2 doesn't run them all down, he has a strong late run too. Top last race speed figure last time out. Today catches a little bit less weight to carry around the track. And then finally, number 3. This was a tough call between the 3, the 5, the 7. They're all pretty similar on paper. But I do like the fact that my friend's beer is a free beer, but also had a bullet work in his 4 and 6 furlong pace numbers, put him perhaps on the lead or close to the lead at their 3/4 of a mile. So that's the box it up again. 4 horses, $1 exacta box, 50-cent Trifecta box, 10-cent Superfecta box. And then we'll go on to the lucky race number 7 at Parx today. Race 7 is 7.5 furlongs, but it was supposed to be on the turf, but they're going to move it from 7.5 furlongs to 1 mile on the main track. So far, at 1 mile on the main track, they've run 78 races, 55 of which were won by horses that were from the first 3 at the first call. 22 of the 55 went wire to wire, so that's a pretty good number right there. Slight rail penalty. It is kind of fair from post 2 through 7. You do get a major downgrade if you wear an 8 or out. This is another race that just got completely messed up by scratches. You'll see here when we look at the race number 7 pace, you have the 1 horse out. You have and this was the only one that was dropping in class too, which make a big difference. The 8 horse out, 12 horse out, this horse out, 2 horse out, 7 horse out, 9 horse out. These horses really don't matter. This NA is one of two things for me. It's either a horse that's making a first-time start, which was the 7 horse, or what I call never close horses, horses that are never close from the beginning, never close at the end. And what we see here now, that the minuses, if you will, or dashes, these are horses that are essentially running at the same level. And this is a maiden claiming race. So I'd like to pay attention to the class moves as much as I do like the form of the horse. I think class moves in maidens, especially when they drop into maiden claimings, are a little bit more predictive necessarily than running style, because you'll see a horse that's run a great style or horribly on maiden special weight, drops into maiden claiming, and then the next thing you know, it runs a spectacular race relative to everything else on the card. So I'm going to start race number 7 with the 6 horse. Angel of the Galaxy has an opportunity now to get an easy lead with all the scratches in the top early pace numbers in the field. Number 11, Cash on First, ran the top last race speed figure. It's 2 and 4 furlong pace numbers were better at maiden claiming 30, but has tried this level before. So it went up, comes back down, maybe faces a little bit easier here. And that was the 13 horse. Number 10, Dream Tracer just missed last out in its first race at Parx. Might improve in the second off the bench. So 6-11, 13-10. Looking forward to one of those races, Charles, like you said, we're just about one of those races where the scratches just really turn that race in from a competitive race to one that's just one that you probably would like to pass on the card. Race number 7, 6 left in. Yeah, I do have the 7 in there. You probably won't play the racing at the maybe 4 chalk early pace at race number 1. May chalk early pace race number. Is that race about to go off in a little bit, right? I think we still have a half an hour left before that race goes off. Race number 8, as we try to work our way through the card here. Race number 8 is a 6 furlong. Again, speed, kind of stay away from the rail. Everything else is all right. This is a claiming $25,000 race for race number 8 at Parx. Our pace setup for race number 8 looks a little bit like this. We see here, again, we got some squared horses, the 2 horse, the 5 horse, and the 7 horse, all meaning they should get paces that are comfortable for the way that they have won in the past. The 3 horse does score the top late pace numbers as a pressure closer. The 1 horse gets the second best late pace numbers in the field, not one that's been decimated by scratches. So hopefully we get a competitive race in this spot. Again, for me in race number 8, I'm going to start my picks with, wrong button again here, too many buttons, too close to one another. Race 8, Shanghai Superfly drops in class. The 7 horse does. Better first quarter fractions, better half mile in terms of its pace numbers last out. We'd like to see that. Could step in up in performance, second start off the break. Do like the fact that you have Frankie Pennington, the jockey, Jamie Ness is the trainer here. That combination, they win a lot. They're winning at 31%. This horse at Parx is a horse for the course. 17 times out, a handful of wins, 3 seconds, a handful of thirds. Raced at other tracks 12 times, just managed to find the winner's circle once. Number 5, race 5 Dreams should get a race shape that fits his winning Parx effort. Just 2 races back, 2 good strong workouts between races. Number 3, Enraged, first off the claim after running some of his fastest fractions in the last 10 starts. So looking maybe for a little bit more improvement, second off the claim. And then finally, number 2, High Velocity. It's the likely to be the pace setter in here. Gets a weight break, as I mentioned already. I do like that. And drops in class back to a level where he went wire to wire 2 races out. So a lot of things that I like right in here. Pace setter, weight break, drops in class, and then goes back to a level where he actually went wire to wire in race number 8. Before we close out the card at Parx, tonight, Sean and I will be back for Horse Center. Our guest tonight is, hang on, let me bring it back up on the screen. Our guest tonight is jockey Farron Peterson, excuse me. So Farron will join Sean and I tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on Horse Racing Radar TV. Again, if you like what you see, you don't want to miss Farron, please hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, like us if you like what you see, tell your friends about us. And then right before Sean and I get on, tonight at 6:30 Eastern. Tom and I are going to be covering the glorious Goodwood Festival in England. So we'll be doing that every day this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Today we're going to start again at 6:30 Eastern. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll start at 6 o'clock Eastern. And then on Friday, for Foreign Fridays, Tom and I will start at our normal time, which will be 1 o'clock Eastern. So it's going to be a busy week this week. A lot of racing tomorrow. I'll be back solo again one more time with Terry for Colonial Downs. Terry will be back on Wednesday for Delaware Park. And then on Thursday, we'll cover Saratoga together. So that's our schedule for picks this week. Looking forward to Terry returning. And let's return to the races. Race number 9 at Parx is a 1.1 miles on the main track. This is an allowance race for $8,000. They've run so far just a few races at a 1.1 miles, 6 of them, a half dozen, 4 of which were one off the pace. 2 of the 3 that did get towards the front, the 2 that did get to the front, both went wire to wire. No wins yet from the rail. Everything else is mostly fair, although there is a slight discount for the 2 and the 3 horse. If we take a look at what the pace setup for this race looks like, I think you're going to have perhaps a one of these horses in here that could be an easier winner. The 2 horse has and this is when I was thinking about making a best bet, but you can't because it's 6-5 morning line. Probably going to end up being a really heavy favorite. 2 horse and the 7 horse, they both have very similar early pace figures. So I think they'll be neck and neck when the gates open. But the real big difference here is we have a plus horse in terms of late pace on the 2 horse. That means he has a 10-point advantage over everybody else on the field, 3 being scratched in here. So the 2 horse not only is going to sit probably, I think when this gate's open, the 2 horse will probably sit behind the 7. Once they hit about the 6 furlong mark or come out of that turn, you'll see the 2 horse turn it on and just run right by everybody. Might be, in terms of lengths, winner today, the biggest winner on the card. Going to be really cheap, I think, in terms of its odds, too. Probably going to be very low. So that's why I have it as my pick to win this race. But I couldn't make it my best bet because, well, that's probably going to go off at 3-5, I would think, something along those lines. I could be wrong about that. Let's see. Chris had some nice charts this weekend. Yeah, those charts that he has, those spot play charts, he puts them in Excel. He and I have talked a lot about what he's doing there. A little bit of feedback from me, but his idea wholeheartedly. Some of the pace stuff, though, is conversation that we had early on in the year when we were talking about Charles, because you challenged me on this at Gulfstream Park when I was mentioning the 2 furlong and the late pace. You put them together, how that combination worked, and you mentioned Brisnet. So I went back and looked to see how it all played out, and I think actually, Charles, in some sense, you're kind of partly responsible for that too, because once I did that challenge and started talking to Chris about it, he went ahead and started doing all these pace charts. So soon we'll have those available for as many races as possible. Working on some other things too that kind of fit into what I'm doing here with the left arrow horses in the pace, comfort zones, and some of that stuff. So that should be coming. Hopefully, our goal is to get it up before the Breeders' Cup in Hull. Number 2, Exit Right, as I mentioned. 2 and the 7 could run all the way around the track. 1-2. 2 has a huge late pace advantage over the 7, and everybody else runs by for the win at the end. Number 7, Double the Heart, could hold the early lead by a little. If you can run slow enough fractions, might have a chance to hold the 2 horse off at the end. Number 1, Hidden Promise, not a fan of the rail here, but should improve in the second try at Parx after coming in from Keeneland and Oaklawn Park. 3rd off the bench. I'm skipping horses here. That was the 1 horse. Number 4 is Echo Hair. That's the 3rd choice for me. Went wire to wire last out with much better pace numbers across the board, better fractions from the second call all the way to the finish line. And then I already mentioned why I like the 1 horse in there as my final choice. Being all by myself again, I screwed up a little bit. So let's go ahead and do the prime rig pick 4. Prime rig pick 4 looks like this. It is in not race number 9. Let me take that banner off. I don't want to confuse anybody. Myself, starting with myself. I'm going to do the prime rig pick 4 in race 3. So race 3, 4, 5, and 6. Race 3 with the 5, the 4, and the 2, and then 4 down all the way out. So I apologize for screwing that up, but you can't get everything right when you're flying solo, I don't think. I try, but I haven't been able to get it right so far. Race number 10, the final race on the card. It's also going to be the final race for the Philly 5. Hopefully, Charles, the rain does settle the heat down. The card goes all the way through, and we can get to the Philly 5, which is another 6-furlong race. Got to be fast. Don't want to be on the rail. Everything else is all right. I'm going to start with the 7 horses, my top choice here. If we go ahead and take a look at what this setup chart looks like, again here, we have the 1 horse and the 7 horse, both squared off, meaning they're likely to get paces that fit their running style. They've won when they've got the lead in the past. Not only has the 7 ability to get towards the front, you're also looking at a horse with the top late pace numbers in here. The 6 horse as well, and the 3, the 5, and the 8. So you got a handful of horses in here that have a chance, based upon past running styles where they've won, to catch a pace that's comfortable for them. So as I mentioned, Charles, the comfort zone, those horses are in their comfort zone for races that they've won previously. And that's what you want, a horse, right, that's going to find a pace setup that fits it and gives it a chance, the best chance to win. So race number 10 to close out the card. My top choice is number 7. I showed you why. It has a chance to be towards the front, has the top late pace figures in the field, and it's just the plus edge, though. So it's 5 points greater than everybody else, not the 10 points. Number 4, Hit a Homer Honey, won her last with much better effort at the end. Loves the distance. Been at the 6 furlongs 5 times, collected the winner's check in 3 of them, and the 3rd place check in 1 other. Class C Sadie is my 3rd choice, the 8 horse. Tied for the top last race speed figure. Been close at winning at Parx since coming in from the NYRA circuit at the Philadelphia track 4 times with 3 seconds and a 3rd. And finally, the last pick of the day, number 6, Frieder Fanatic. I don't know if I got that right, but clearly better in the last race, especially at the later part. I do like that you have Ruben Silvera and Lewis Linder Jr. teaming up together. They hit a click at 27%. That's a pretty good win right there. I like the day today. Very possible to hit the jackpot with some bombs on the dirt at AE. And I also like the fact that you can probably single a horse in one of those legs, Charles. I do think that 2 horse is going to be really hard to beat. So that's how I stacked up my Philly 5 here. The 2, the 6, the 1, the 6, the 11, the 13, and 10 in race number 7. Then 4 horses in race 8, the 2 horse in race 9. So my Philly 5 is going to live or die on that 2 horse. I do think he's going to be a little bit of a short price. I expect him to be under 1-to-1. Again, full card looks like this. My best bet is in race number 2. My long shot is in race number 4. We're going to start the early pick 4 with the hot dog pick 4. Hot dog pick 4 in race number 1 with the 1 and the 4. The 7 as a solo in race 2. 4 horses in race 3. In race 5, taking a wider swath. Box of the prime rib is going to go in race 3, 5-4-2. 4 horses from there. Then you got the Philly 5 to close out the card. So a lot of action today at Philadelphia. Hopefully the track and the weather cooperate. And then finally, there is to box it up, the Bump Purdue, Hardsting, Malibu Star, My Friend's Beer as my 50-cent trifecta box, $1 exacta box, 10-cent superfecta box. And if you're going to be boxing horses up today at Finger Lakes, which is another track that's probably pretty sloppy today, you want to head on over to Guaranteed Tip Sheet, where Finger Lakes is our free track of the day. There's a link in the description in YouTube and Facebook. Please use that link to go on over there so they know where the traffic came from. Number 2 horse, Missing Fortune, is the top choice in the first race. I think that covers it all for me today at Parx. I don't think I missed anything. The only thing I could tell you is I did put together on the weekend, I spent a little bit of time putting in together a nice new design for Horse Racing Today gear. So when you're over at Horse Racing Today, please click on the HRT link. You can see right here, I put "See You in the Winner's Circle" as the new shirt. Looks pretty good. I ordered mine already. Should be on the way here. I'm looking forward to wearing that out. See you. Get it? To see you in the winner's circle. A little bit crafty there. Logo work for Rich. Maybe I should take up a different job. So make sure you head on over to HRT, horseracingtoday.net. Click on that HRT gear. Support the show. We certainly appreciate it. Terry and I will be back. Thanks, Nick, for joining us today. Good luck to you as well. Good luck to you, Charles. take a look at the action at Mutuals at Parx. Indeed, should be a fantastic day at the card. As always, we hope that your day, no matter what it is that you do, between now and the time Tom and I get back at 6:30 tonight for the glorious Goodwood, Sean and I later on in the day for Farron Peterson for the Horse Center. Looking forward to all those shows. Before we go, one final thing. Rest in peace, Sylvia. Looking forward to seeing you on the other side. No matter what you do, please let it end up in the winner's circle.